team and I made this announcement on the outside of what was then the beginning of what is now the completion of a national stadium, which I refer to as the gem or the jewel of the Caribbean. It was with this vision that my executives and I, along with the support of the membership, sought to move track and field to a higher level by seeking to host the IAAF 2014 World Junior Track and Field Championships. Having hosted all of the major regional events, we felt confident that once given the opportunity, we would have continued to make the Bahamas proud with our hosting of such a prestigious event. One of the prerequisites by the IAAF for the hosting of any major event is to secure financial commitment of the municipality of the host city. In our case, that would be the central government. A hard dollar budget of approximately $8.5 million was prepared and presented to the Ministry of Sports. Of that total, it was expected that approximately $3 million would have been provided by the IAAF and its global partners, with the remaining $5.3 to be guaranteed by the host city. In this regard, we sought to have the government, through the Ministry of Sports, provide this guarantee. Of the $5.3 hard million needed, it was anticipated that in partnership with local sponsors and interested partners, i.e. hotels, transportation companies, and others, the cost would have been significantly reduced through negotiated value in kind, or VIK as we refer to it. Unfortunately, it was most disappointing to learn through the media that the government could not support the bid for the 2014 IAAF World Junior Championships by providing the financial guarantee as required by the IAAF. As a result, we found it regrettably necessary to officially withdraw the Bahamas, and in the case the city of Nassau, for consideration as host. This was in keeping with the IAAF final deadline of October 24, 2011. And whilst the beach race is extremely disappointed but not deterred by this missed opportunity, we look forward to the continued good working relationship that we have enjoyed with the government through the Ministry of Sports over the years, and as such would not wish for this to become a political matter, and we make these statements without prejudice to the facts. Thank you.
Mr. Sands, I just want to ask, aside from what's actually presented by the beach race and the $8.5 million, any other bodies ever come together in any kind of way to try to offset whether the government would have not come up with the 5.5? Is it a closed deal based on whether the government said no?
It's a closed deal because we've missed the deadline. And the IAAF is very, very stringent with its deadline. As a matter of fact, we had extended in Daegu, we requested an extension for some of that information that is required. But the more pertinent information is the financial guarantee that needs to be provided by the municipality or the cities. For example, in Daegu, it was the city of Daegu along with other partners. And so all other information was ancillary to the big picture, what was the financial commitment.
The decision for the government not to come on, I mean, after researching it today, whether it's unilateral or not, on behalf of the cabinet of the Bahamas, was any information given you as to how and why the decision was actually made?
No, as I said, unfortunately we learned about it in the media that this was not to be. We found it out yesterday. We were waiting and hoping, trying to push to the deadline as close as possible, but having not received any official communication, we were forced to advise the IAAF that regrettably we have to withdraw from consideration.
Originally, there were 3 countries bidding for the to host: the U.S., the Bahamas. Who's the other one?
Yeah, for the benefit of those, we say countries, but the reality is it's cities. And so there was Kazan, Russia, Eugene, Oregon, and Nassau, or the Bahamas. And I must tell you that based on, well, first of all, Russia pulled out, and I got that word while we were flying back from Daegu. And so we were better than 50% chance of making this happen because Russia withdrew. And talking to all of my friends and colleagues, the Bahamas was very, very highly favored against Eugene, Oregon.
Well, it's the council that makes the decision,
Yeah.
and we got the feeling from the council.
Yes, sir.
The moving the championships and any other major meets still a possibility?
This is one event, and as I indicated earlier, we are very, very disappointed, extremely disappointed, because I mean we were looking at this to go to the next level. We've done all the ones in the region, except this one and the World Youth, and so we felt we were ready for this. But this is one event. The other events, there's the World Relays that the IAAF is looking at instituting in 2013. Of course, there's Carifta, but we've done that over and over. We've done Junior Pan Ams, and so we will continue to look to utilize that beautiful edifice over there, because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about, moving the sport to another level.
I'm coming back from Daegu. There were talks about the IAAF desire to actually use the national stadium and also use the Bahamas as a host for training. Have we gotten any further with that? Well,
let me say this. It wasn't a question of them deciding. We, in the B3A as an executive, we looked at opportunities for ourselves. We talk about sports tourism, we talk about any other number of opportunities. And we also felt that we have our elite athletes that are training all over the world. And there's always been a number of inquiries from a number of persons wanting to know what do we do and can they come to the Bahamas to train. Obviously, on the basis of that, we thought it would be necessary to seek the authorization or approval from the IAAF to become an accredited. You can always invite people to train, but once you're an IAAF accredited training center, that gives it authenticity to it, because it meant that they have confidence in your program, your coaches, the administration, everything else. And so in Daegu, myself along with the treasurer and another delegate, we had a meeting, which was our second or third meeting, with the director of the regional center, and they expressed their support for the Bahamas becoming an accredited training center. But again, there are certain criteria that have to be met. And we've got the application, we're looking at the applications. It is being looked at in the process, because we have to meet again some conditions, so it's not just something that happens overnight.
These are ironclad conditions or difficult conditions for us to meet?
They're not difficult. I mean, they're challenging, but they're not difficult. You have to have certain things in place. I mean, like for example, you look at some accommodations, and we're exploring that, and some other things, and then you get levels of accreditation. So you can have a high performance center, or you can just have an accreditation. You can be accredited for the sprints, the hurdles, and the jumps. And so based on, once we have said to them that we send back an application, and like they don't do, they always work with you, they never try to discourage you. They will come back to us and say, okay, you need to do this, this, and that. The same thing they did with the bid, you need to do this, this, and that. And then once you have complied with that, then they would come and they would do a visit, site inspection, to determine if you actually have complied with their requirements.
Now we missed this deadline. Is there any way, shape, or form at all that this could be revisited at all?
Boy, I would doubt that very seriously. I mean, like I said, understanding the other countries, and we've had an extension.
Yes.
We sat in Daegu very feverishly, putting together some required information after we met with them in Daegu. And then we gave them what they asked for at minimum at that point. And then they asked us to submit some other stuff, which we're working on. But it almost made no sense unless you had that financial commitment ahead, and it'll be very. I don't see it happening anymore with the IAAF, because they've been very lenient, and you have to understand and appreciate that they have to have the time frame as well for other cities. So it's not just the Bahamas. It's not just about the Bahamas. It's bigger than us from where we sit.